Hello guys and welcome back, and today I want to carry on looking at Synology NAS. Now, a number of you have been looking at the brand new DS1621xs Plus along with a lot of other bigger, larger scale Synology NAS solutions. But one of the biggest downfalls of some of those bigger NAS devices is that it doesn't feature Synology Hybrid RAID, otherwise known as SHR. SHR is Synology's own proprietary RAID system that allows you to mix and match drives, which of course on day one you'd never do. On day one you're never going to put 3 TB and 10 TB and 6 TBs, you're not going to do that. But later on in your device's lifespan, you may well wish to, invest in larger hard drives. 3-4 years down the line, maybe you see a Black Friday deal and you're starting to run out of space, so you want to buy bigger drives. But traditional hard drive RAIDs cannot allow larger hard disks. If you, had, in this case, for example, we're looking at here, if this was a RAID 5, and if you had, these are 3 TB WD-RAID hard drives, if you had 3 of these 3 TBs and you introduced a 10 TB drive, the system would only see 3 TB. It would only classify the drive as 3 TB. If you introduced a 3 TB drive and populated the other 3 bays with 10 TB drives in a traditional RAID, it's only going to see them as 3 TB. The benefits of SHR is that it looks at the total overall capacity of the drives and makes sure that there's always one disk of parity available that covers the largest drive, and then after that you can mix and match whatever drives you want. So if you were to introduce 3 10 TBs in this system, it would still have 10 TB of redundancy, but it would introduce 20 terabytes of data, and that's kind of the big benefit of SHR. The other benefits of SHR, such as the ability to expand to the RAID a great deal easier than you can with RAID 5 and RAID 6, and the fact that this particular kind of RAID is very portable within Synology NAS systems, is one of the main reasons that a number of you were a little bit gutted that the XS series, such as the DS1621xs Plus, do not feature SHR. So what I'm going to be doing in today's video is I'm taking an SHR. This is in a DS420 Plus, and again this is a standard SHR one disk failure, so in other words one disk fault tolerance or safety net, and I'm going to move this RAID into the DS1621xs, a system that is not supposed to support SHR. You can't even select it at boot. And what we're going to see is, can we port this over? I've done this test before in the past, moving an SHR into an XS, and it was successful, but that was 2 years ago. So right now I'm going in as blind as you are. So I just wanted to show you guys firstly that this is indeed an SHR inside this DS420 Plus, and that this is indeed the same SHR that we're going to be moving over to the other system. So if we go into the file station, we can make sure to see the data that's inside. We've got all the files from our Plex Media Server video that we did around about a month ago. We've got lots of data inside here, lots of stuff to play with. There is data on these disks, and this is on a volume on the SHR storage pool. So what I'm going to do is shut this system down, and then once it's shut down and we've allowed a couple of minutes to ensure that the disks have finished spinning, always make sure of that. Just because you turn the system off doesn't stop the drives automatically. They need to organically and naturally spin down. After that, we're going to move over to the studio area. I'm just on the other side of the office now, and I'm going to take all 4 of those drives out of the 420 on camera and put them into the DS1621xs, a non-SHR system, and then we're going to boot that NAS up and see what happens. So let's make our way to the studio. Okay guys, so we've powered down the DS420 Plus, and we're going to move these 4 drives into this 6-bay NAS. Of course, this is a 6-bay, so we don't need all of the bays, so we're going to reinsert 2 of those empty bays there. If you look in the background, you can see all 6 of the drives I've pulled out of this, so it did have the software on board. If we insert that back in there, we can then start installing the brand new drives. I'm sorry about the sound quality. I've left my mic set up over there from earlier on, so this is kind of like the raw audio feed, so I apologize in advance for the sound quality, but to be honest, this is fairly rudimentary, and I'm pretty sure the majority of you are going to skip past this point anyway. As I mentioned earlier on, I have run this kind of transfer once before. I did it at the launch of the DS1621xs Plus. We moved some drives over from a DS916. Now, it was a couple of years ago and it was successful. But that said, you never know what happens with Synology and DSM, and this is a brand new unit, so better that I risk throwaway data than you start risking your own important data. Now, we have done a lot of testing of this NAS device. Already we've done 10 GBE and SSD caching tests, we've done Plex and video station tests, we did a Windows 10 virtual machine installation guide, we've done a software overview, and I think we're up to 4 comparisons between this device and other Synology NASs, as well as comparisons between this and a couple of high-tier QNAPs. I'm hoping those videos have already been published. I might make this video live a little bit sooner, because I think a number of you are going to be upgrading to this device, and you may, have purchased some of the older generation 918, or maybe the 916, or even some of the 5 and 8A devices. So there's a chance that what you're looking to do right now is to upgrade to a device like this, which would make a lot of sense. So no doubt you are interested to know whether your Synology Hybrid RAID storage pool will be visible on this device. Let's get that in there. It's kind of lucky these clips are pretty similar. Put them in there. And we've got the final tray and the final drive. What we'll do, when I've got this drive inside, we're going to power this device up, and then from there we're going to make our way back over to that screen over there and show exactly what happens when the device powers up. Sorry, dropped the tray there. There's a lot of stuff going here on screen. And again, I do apologise for the sound quality that you're seeing here, or hearing here even, just because it's easier to just do this like this and leave the mic set up over there in the studio, in the office. So there we go. We've got all of our drives inside. We've got 2 blanks, and we've got that SHR ported over physically. So the only thing left to do is click power. That's the fan kicking in for the first time. And what I'm going to do is give it a couple of minutes and make my way over to the office over there. Let's make our way to the screen. Right, so we've booted up our DS1621xs Plus. As you can see there in the background, that was the DS420, still powered down from earlier. And as we see, this new NAS is indeed migratable. There it is there, the DS1621xs Plus, already booted up, and it's on the IP 15115, so it's a different IP to what the 420 was on, but I believe because of DHCP, you don't have to worry about that. So let's double click and look at our migration options. So we can take a little look at this bad boy and go through here. It may ask us to download DSM again for the first time. As you can see, it has recognized that it is indeed a DS420 and that we can migrate this data over. Now, this is slightly different to using Synology's migration assistant tool that allows you to migrate data between 2 fully populated NASs. This is transferring data over from the same disks in one NAS to the other. So let's click migrate. We can choose whether we want to completely reinstall the Synology NAS and keep my data, or keep the data in most of the settings. Now in this case we want to keep those settings. So let's go ahead and see what happens. Right now we can go ahead and click install, and it's going to go ahead and download DSM 6.2 for this NAS, even though there is already DSM 6.2 on the internal ROM. And we're going to fast forward to the completion of the installation of Disk Station Manager on the DS1621xs Plus to see if our data and indeed our Synology Hybrid RAID is still maintained. Okay, so our NAS has completely installed DSM and has rebooted, as you can see here on screen. So let's log into this NAS for the first time. Our credentials should remain exactly the same because of the migration. We can go ahead and skip that. And as we can see here straight away, it is saying that we are on a DS420 because that is the name that we gave the server. But of course, this isn't a DS420. If we go into the control panel, it should tell us straight away that this is a DS1621xs Plus. Let's go into the info center, and boom, a DS1621xs Plus with our 8 gig of memory. It's all visibly available there, and the name of the previous server is still there. And I know it seems like I'm elongating it, but we want to know that all the data is intact. We can see all of our data there, all of the folders that we looked at earlier on, all of the basic stuff that wasn't in those other folders. Even the dates, the files, it still maintain the original modification dates of all of that data. And of course, finally, what we want to see is, do we have our Synology hybrid RAID? As we can see here, we've got the storage pool. We go into that storage pool and boom, Synology hybrid RAID on our DS1621xs Plus. We were able to migrate this over. It's exactly the same drives. It's still those 3 TB drives, and of course there's a couple of SSDs in there that we've got inside the caching bays of this NAS we might take advantage of in a future video, but I can say that this video has been a success. We've got our BTR FS on our brand new DS1621xs Plus, which is not supposed to support SHR because they do maintain SHR, although it's very, very good for home and small NAS utilization. A lot of business users do prefer ext4, so you can kind of understand the logic, but I know a number of you are still a bit sore about the lack of SHR. One caveat I will add right now at the end of this video, and probably should have started the video with this: SHR, as much as I love it and as much as you love it, was not intended for this device. So if you are using an SHR on a device that is not intended to be used for SHR, you can't guarantee the stability, and Synology themselves will likely tell you that you are using an unsupported configuration. I don't know how true that is, just looking at what we see here, but I know Synology is a brand that plays support and plays supported compatibility and configurations very much down the line. And what you're doing here may not be stable. So what I would strongly recommend, just to be on the safe side, and again, this is not based on anything, it's just gut instinct, make sure you've got your backups in place. Have USB backups in place. Have Active Backup Suite installed and create that multi-tiered backup strategy. And ultimately, make sure that you've got sufficient layers of backup that if something does go wrong with this, you've got that safety net. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Do click like if you did enjoy it. Click subscribe if you want to learn more. And I will see you next time.